Hello, everybody, and welcome to another kvCORE Success Meetup Tips, Tricks, and Q&A. My name is Kelly Bajarski. I'm going to be your trainer and your host, your coach, so to speak, and pretty much your tour guide today. Welcome to the Success Meetups. It looks like we've got about a dozen or so folks here. Thank you so much for carving out some time in your day to join us. I always like to ask a couple of questions just to get to know who's here and kind of level set some expectations. How many of you have actually attended the Success Meetups before? Raise your hand. Find that little raise your hand button on your Zoom control. Raise your hand if you've attended these sessions before. I see a couple of familiar faces. Hi, Rosetta. Hi, Natalie. Thanks for joining. Hey, Tom. Awesome. Okay, so it looks like we've got a few folks who have attended before. And for those of you that are new to this webinar, this is actually it's an opportunity for you to meet with the trainer or one of our specialists over in Done For You Services. That would be Heather. Heather Bowden is the director for Done For You Services, and she actually does the Wednesday sessions. My name is Kelly Bajarski. I'm the director of training here, and so you have me today. And every session is a little different and a little unique. We like to think so anyway, and we always try to pick a tip or a trick or something from kvCORE that we can focus on to really create some maybe unique strategies or give you an opportunity to dive in the actual how to use the tool. And so today I have chosen as my topic the 505 Brokers Open, which for those of you scratching your heads at home going, what exactly is a 505 Brokers Open? It's actually just the name of what I've been calling my brokers open houses for a long time. And it's really, it's just something that I came up with as a way to showcase and invite agents and brokers to an exclusive preview of a listing. And I just like to do it after hours. So they always start at 5:05. And it seems to be catchy and people remember that. So we're going to talk about open houses today and how to leverage kvCORE to have your next best open house. So another question, find that. I should probably create a poll for this, but I just like to see hands go up. Find that raise your hand button. How many of you currently are doing open houses or on the regular? How many of you do open houses? How many of you have ever done an open house? Rosetta has, Natalie, Jennifer. Okay, I'm going to go to you guys because I'm sure you probably are all the experts here as well. And I just randomly picked somebody who raised your hand, and I promise I won't throw anybody under the bus, but I did pull you, Jennifer. Hey, Jennifer, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm awesome. Thanks for asking. I hope you had a nice extended weekend and did some amazing things. Celebrated Martin Luther King Day yesterday. That was
Yes, I sure did.
awesome. Did you do an open house by any chance?
No, I did not.
Well, you know what? Open houses can happen any time of the day or night, right?
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about the last open house that you have or that you had, and so that we can get an idea of what's it like to do an open house where you're at. And tell us where you're from.
Um, well, just because of the market, we had a couple crazy years, just like everyone else, I'm sure.
Hmm.
So open houses really weren't being utilized.
Right. Didn't have
In
to. They didn't
honesty,
last long enough.
right. Yeah. I mean, I had my last two listings, I had open houses scheduled, but the home sold. So my last open house, in all honesty, oh, it's been a while ago,
It's
a
been a
long
hot
time.
minute. Yeah, you know
Yeah.
what? And I think that's why I chose this one as my topic because it's time to pull out the open house app and dust it off
Mhm.
and get ready because
Yep.
the market is shifting. I see it
Yep.
all over the place. Things are happening and we are kind of in a position where it's time to use some new uh, marketing strategies and plans. So if you've never done an open house before, the great thing about kvCORE is that there's so many different tools that you can use to leverage your open house. Of course, the open house app is one of them. Jennifer, when you've done an open house recently, have you used the Core Open House app?
I am brand new to kvCORE, so no, I have
Oh,
not.
okay. Well, for those of you that are new to kvCORE or haven't had a chance to see it, let me go into my demo account. This is my practice sandbox that I use for kvCORE. Jennifer, you can see my screen and my cursor kind of spinning
I
around here on
can.
the dashboard. Okay, good.
Yes.
So whether you're new to kvCORE or whether you've been here for a hot minute, we all pretty much have the same um, layout for our kvCORE platform. Along the left-hand side is all of those menu items with all the tools built in. In the upper right corner, where your name is, that's going to tell you what your user permission level is. I'm an agent, so it just simply has my name. If I happen to have any admins here, you will see either office team or company admin under above your name. And of course, when you click on it, there's some hidden behind the scenes tools here as well. But one of the things that is right here on the dashboard page is the ability to download the mobile apps. So if you click on this, it's going to take you right into where the mobile apps are. And we have two. We have the core mobile app. If you are part of a brokerage that has a customized app for you, you will also log in this way. You might have a couple of additional steps to take for that white labeled app, but generally speaking, we all go to the same place. And you have this open house app. Now, the open house app I love this app because number one, I don't have to use that sign in sheet anymore. For those of you that have used scratch paper, have used beautiful guest books, have just had people sign in on a legal pad, those days are over, my friend. It is now automated. Now, most of us probably aren't doing that anyway, but I'm older than dirt, as my kids like to tell me. And so I do remember the days where I would have people sign in just on a sheet of paper. But then we've kind of evolved into, having people sign in online. And that's what this is. It's an online guest registry. But the difference between this and any other solution out there is that it is tied to your kvCORE platform. So what that means, Jennifer, is that when you have people sign in and register on your Core Open House app, they automatically get added to your CRM for you, which includes any of those follow-ups that you may have in place, those powerful automations that are built in. And we're going to go into that on our webinar today. But Jennifer, so tell me a little bit about your open house. What do you do typically when you run an open house?
Well, we have broker opens where we, invite all the brokers within the community, and that one typically you provide dessert or lunch or something to entice them, along with a drawing of some sort. So there's a giveaway that usually gets them in the door, and those are beneficial naturally because you can get feedback from other professionals. The other one is naturally a listing open, and those are typically in our area on Sundays. We do have some that are on Saturdays. We've had a couple people be creative and do like a Thursday night or a Friday night, which I like. But with the way the market is, we just still don't have a lot of inventory. So I
Mm.
haven't really seen those as much. But those are your typical open house where you're opening the door, you're greeting somebody. Yeah. And also trying to use it as prospecting as well.
100%. The whole purpose of an open house, now this may be arguable, and Jennifer, we could probably debate it back and forth, but I think it simply comes down to two things. One, you want to sell the house, right?
Mhm.
That is your primary motivation, is to get that home sold. But let's face it, you can only sell that house one time, right? There's
Yep.
plenty of other houses out there. Some may be your listings, some may not. Some may not be your listings, but it's prospecting. It's to get buyers through the door as well, buyers hopefully that are unrepresented by other agents. And
Yep.
so it's a great opportunity for you to actually have what I like to think of as a face-to-face interview with a potential client right then and there in that open house. So if you approach it that way, it really does open up the opportunity for you to really generate and potentially generate a lot of business. But I love that you captured the broker's open as well, because a broker's open it really is just exactly what it sounds like. It's an open house that you've specifically designed to invite and encourage other agents and brokers to come to. Now, how many of you have done a broker's open? Jennifer, I know you said you have. Anybody else done a broker's open where they've just invited other agents? I don't see too many hands going up, so I'm going to assume that's a no. Well, and do I have any brokers on today's webinar? Raise your hand if you're a broker. No brokers, just agents. That's okay. Well, let me tell you something. Brokers opens are also a great way to um, uh, to potentially recruit other agents. It's a great way to introduce yourself. If you're growing a team, if you're a team leader, if you're part of a team, if you are recruiting, thinking about having a team, what a great way to network with other agents in your area. It's really just this all-in-one inclusive preview of your listing that allows you to gather feedback about the property, price opinions. It's a great way to network and potentially get a chance to meet and recruit other agents. But of course, we always want to sell that house, right? So whatever your marketing strategy is, and the reasons why you're having your brokers open, your 505, your after hours, or maybe it's your coffee chat in the morning. Maybe you've got a morning brokers open house. Maybe you're doing a progressive open house. Those are progressive brokers open. Some people call those caravans, where you'd go caravanning. That's kind of an old school thing where we'd literally meet at our association and everybody caravans, and sometimes we even got on a bus and we just went from listing to listing. And if your listing was privy to that progressive open house caravan, you got an opportunity to get agents, a busload of agents through all at once. So a lot of different ways to creatively come up with a broker's open. But when you're using kvCORE, the same tools that you use to potentially market your brokers open, you're going to use those for your listings as well. And I peppered one right into this little invite right here on this page, and that's a custom text code. So Jennifer, in kvCORE, we have this tool that's called call capture, and it works with your smart number. Have you had a chance to learn and explore a little bit more about the smart number and how that works with call capture?
No.
So what that does is it allows you to create a word, or I've got two words here, brokers open. And in combination with your smart number, it allows you to create a text to call code where you would text the word to your smart number, and you can create either a link that it's an auto response that links back to that particular property, or you could create your own message. So I love text codes, and I love them especially for open houses, because what a text code really does is it allows you to take people from the real world and bring them into the digital world. So if you want to create one, you're going to go into your lead engine right here, and you're going to go over to the call and text capture, which is one of our what I like to think is the trifecta of lead generation tools right here: landing pages, squeeze pages, and call and text capture. And you can go ahead and click to get started. Now, a couple of things to note if you've never created one before: that you always will be given a personal text code. This is the one that comes straight with your system right out of the box. And you can go in and edit it if you like. This is primarily for those that are using the Craigslist auto poster, because we already have that kind of embedded into the Craigslist auto poster. But you can also create new ones. So because you share your smart number, and for those of you that are like, oh, what's my smart number? I don't know where it is. It's in that hidden menu. This is the telephone number that pops up right here. It's also going to display on that call and text capture, so you can see it right here. Side note, pro tip, go ahead and put that smart number in your phone as a contact. Because if you ever get a call from the smart number, you want to make sure you answer it, because usually that's kvCORE calling to tell you that you have a new lead. But it's got multiple functions, and this is just one of them. So today we're going to focus on this. We're not going to go down and talk all about smart numbers. I want to focus on text codes. So what I could do is, if I wanted to create this text code, brokers open, and tie it to my smart number, I would go to the call and text capture and add new. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use brokers open as my custom code. It's the magic word of the day. And if I want to click on MLS ID number, I can simply pop in the street address, and I'll just randomly make one up and see if there's one in here, because it'll pull one in here. See there, if this was my listing, I just click on this and then I click add. I'm done, right? Or actually, I have to choose my smart number. If I have multiple smart numbers, which you technically could, most of you will just have one, but I'm tied to a bunch of different smart numbers, so I would choose the one I want. And I click add. Done. That's as easy as it gets. But here's where there's some additional follow-up tools in here. I like to call them the magic bullet. You can actually add a hashtag into this. Now, what that means is that when somebody texts brokers open on their phone to the smart number, right now, an auto response will trigger back to them with a link to this listing ID. How cool is that? That in and of itself is pretty cool. It's a great way to just push out information, right? Jennifer, have you used anything like that before?
No, I've not.
It's pretty cool. But
Yeah.
here's what else it does. It actually captures that user's phone number. And that's why we call it call capture. It captures that phone number, and it's going to bring that phone number into your kvCORE as a new contact. It's going to bring it in as a phone lead. Now, we only get the phone number. We don't get their name. We don't get their email address. We don't get any of that. So this is where you have to come in and be a little bit more creative, and you need to have to create a click funnel or a system to try and capture that information as well. Now, the easiest thing to do when you get a phone lead, pick up the phone and call and say, "Hi, this is Jennifer Peters, and I'm with ABC Realty. And it's thank you so much for inquiring about my listing. Who am I speaking with?" That would be the easiest thing, right? You can also automate things as well. So what if you wanted to do is you could take this listing information and you could create a message right here. Okay. So instead of sending out that link for the MLS ID, which would work totally fine. And by the way, when they get to your listing, in order to get past, I think it's like the second property on the second photo, it depends on what your defaults are. They're going to be asked to sign up and register on your website. So that's how you're going to capture their email address if they choose to go that far. What I like to do is I like to send personal messages. So in this case, I might have something that says, thanks for your interest. I hope to see you at the broker's open house, and then maybe give some information about the open house. This is going to go out through a text, so keep it short. It doesn't need to be a dissertation, right? But you can put in some information, and you can also add in links. So what you could do is you could add in maybe a squeeze page link that's a single property squeeze page link that links them back to that property on your website, which is basically what that MLS ID number does. Okay. So any of you had a chance to create squeeze pages yet? Squeeze pages, landing pages? Raise your hand if you have. Jennifer, I know you're new, so I'm gonna assume maybe you haven't. What a squeeze page does, let me go over here to my website. This is my demo website. A squeeze page, let's just pretend, let's find a nice one. This one in Scarsdale. That's a nice property. So, and it's having an open house. That's cool. So if I were to take, I mean, technically speaking, if this is where my broker's open house is going to be at, technically I could just go up here and grab this link and copy it and go back to my message here. And I could say something like, here's more photos. Let's get this out of the way. Photos and info about my listing. And what I could do here is just paste that link, right? I could just paste it right here and I could be done with it. Oh, maybe I'm going to go in and put something like, the who, what, the when, when's the list, when's the brokers open, the time, blah, 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 sign your name. Thanks. I'll see you later, whatever. You could do that. Now, when somebody receives this, it's going to have that link in there. And of course, when they click on it, it's going to squeeze them over to this page on your website. That's why we call it a squeeze page. It squeezes them either to a single property, a group or inventory of properties on your website, or maybe to get a market report, or maybe to get a to some place that's on your website. Maybe it's even to a custom page. Who knows? You could really put a link in there to anywhere. But the idea is that you're squeezing them back here to your website so that when they do go to chat with us now, ask the agent a question, save, or look at other properties, they're going to get hit with that forced registration and sign up as a lead. Now, in this particular case, that's okay, but what's going to happen when they sign up here? Jennifer, do you know? Do you know what's going to happen when they sign up?
No.
What's going to happen is they're going to be added to my database as a new buyer type lead. And remember, this is for my broker's open house. I don't want them to come in and be added as a buyer lead. They're going to start getting smart campaigns that are really for my buyers, and that's not going to be helpful for me at all, right? So what I could do instead is, instead of squeezing them directly to my website, I'm going to take this out. What I could do is I could actually create a squeeze page. So let me duplicate this so I don't lose my spot where I am on that kvCORE, because I don't want to lose that. So a little pro tip there: if you duplicate your windows up at the top, it just makes a copy of it. So what I could do instead is I can go over and create in the lead engine, I could go create a squeeze page, find my website, start building it. go to a single property squeeze page, and I could build in uh, a squeeze page here that allows me to control things, the page configuration. I can control the default. I can build in a hashtag. I can even add a source name so that instead of it coming in as whatever the system defaults it as, I could add my own source name. Maybe I'm going to send this out in a oh gosh, I don't know. I'm going to put this on a Facebook page, a real estate Facebook page that I'm part of in a group. I could put the name of that real estate group, real estate group I'm a part of, whatever. That would be your source. Which is nice because now you've got that as your source and you'd be able to track it and things like the business analytics for source performance, stuff like that. So you could do that. But what's really kind of cool about that, the hashtag, and I don't even have to do a squeeze page to do that, is that when I create this text code, whether it's a single page and I put the hashtag there, or if I just choose the hashtag right here, maybe I want to use the hashtag brokers open. And when I do that, I can use this hashtag to control and trigger a few things that are part of my follow-up because I don't really want these people to come in um, as buyer type leads and then go down that rabbit hole with all of that automation. What I could do is create a smart campaign. And that smart campaign, because these smart campaigns are super robust and they're great ways to create action plans. One of the things you can add into a smart campaign is you could add in maybe a status type. And that status type might be sphere. So you could have them added into sphere. You could have an entire smart campaign that's just built out for recruiting, for agent type recruiting. You could have a task reminder that says when this lead comes in, change their type of lead from buyer to agent so that you can track them better. So you could create a whole action plan that's just fully developed specifically for, agents that come to your brokers open if you want. Now, that's kind of a really expansive way of really just introducing some of the tools, but at the very minimum, um, start thinking about how you can use kvCORE and the tools to start marketing your next open house. Because whatever the type of open house that you do, you want to remember that you're marketing to attract buyers, neighbors, which are really basically seller leads, right? And potentially other agents. I guess we could throw in here renters as well, because renters could potentially be buyers down the road. So do your homework and be ready for that open house and use marketing trends to help kind of promote your listing and things like that. Be as educated as possible. This is where those market reports come in. So for example, if I was doing a open house and I wanted to be able to showcase the local market trends, that might be something that I might want to offer up as a market report. And guess what? In the lead engine, to capture leads, you can create a squeeze page that's a market report. So if that listing of mine is over in zip code 92563, just happens to be where I live, I could create a market report with a source and a hashtag so that I can label it in case somebody does run a market report from my open house, and I can generate this link. And what's going to happen is it's going to generate a market report for this zip code. But in order to get the market report, they actually have to sign up and become a lead on your database to do that. So what am I going to do with this link once I capture it, once I use this? I could do any number of things with this. I could build this into a text code. Maybe I'd create a separate text code. Instead of using brokers open, maybe I use the word, I don't know, 92563 market report. Text 92563 market report to my smart number to get more information about what's going on and trending in this area. And you could include the squeeze page link for that market report that we just created. We could just add that right there. So you could do and again, now you're capturing phone leads. and you're also including a value prop of this market report so that you can offer up some informational trends about what's going on there. So building those into your text codes uh, is a great way to include just additional information. And what I like to do with these text codes is I like to put them on plexiglass, those plexiglass holders that you use for like your flyers and things, or you could just laminate it and just put them all over the house. I've put text codes all over the house before, and I've captured phone leads from the entourage that comes in with my with buyers. Have you ever done an open house and you have like 5 people come along to the open house? Maybe it's mom and dad and the buyers themselves and maybe the brother or a cousin or a friend, somebody, sometimes you get whole groups of people that come in there, and usually only one person signs up on the open house sign up sheet, right? Or on your app. You don't get every single person that signs in. So text codes are a great way to capture phone leads from even other people that might come through. So it really just depends on how creative you want to be. So Jennifer, your question is, can you shrink the market area to more than a zip code? Yeah, you can. You can actually create market reports based on, hang on one second. You can do it based on city, county, zip code. I think you can do multiple ones as well. I think if you put in another, oh, maybe not. But you can also use geographical areas versus, which basically pulls the latitude and longitude. So you could do, or you could do multiple market reports. Pragia asks, what is a broker's open? Okay, we've already talked about that, but it's basically an exclusive open house just for your agents or your brokers. Jennifer, did we answer your question?
Yes.
Cool thing about these squeeze pages is that you do have several options. Now, if you don't have sold properties available on your squeeze page builder, it's simply because we don't have access to pull that information from your MLS. But everybody should have a multi-property, single property seller and market report. Okay. So using market reports, there's another thing that I like to use as well. I like to use the information that's on my website. And one of the things that's here is down at the bottom of the first page of on the home page of your website, way down at the bottom, unless you've got a really, fully customized website, you may not see it right there, but you have this areas we cover page. And in the areas we cover page, it pulls in all of the areas that are supported through your, have been set up to display on your website. And so I have all of mine. There's like 1,300 here. It's some crazy amount. You probably don't see this many unless you have part of a MLS that has a large coverage area. But let's just say that my open house happens to be in, I don't know, Walnut Creek, California. I can pull up this areas we cover page, and it's pretty cool because it pulls local market trends and information as well. Now, I didn't pull one that has a lot of listings in there. I don't see that. So let me go back to my homepage and see if I can find an areas we cover that actually has some of the basic information. How about, let's see, I'm not familiar with all of these areas, but let's see here about South Pasadena. They've got to have some listings in there. So South Pasadena, one of the things that I like about these areas we cover pages is that it always has and displays the most popular, the most expensive, and the least expensive. So this is pretty cool. So this is a dynamic page, and it updates, and so you don't have to worry about it. So if you post this link and use it in a text code or put it on a custom page or put it inside of an email template that you're using, however many times, maybe just post it out on Facebook every Friday as your local market information for South Pasadena. It doesn't matter because anytime somebody clicks on this information will be consistently updated because it's pulling as a dynamic page. So that's kind of cool. So question came in about the recordings here. So the just so you know, the Success Meetups Tips and Tricks is actually a series that we do on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and we will go in and we will post it to our YouTube channel. Once it renders through Zoom, give us about 28 or 24 to 48 hours. We're pretty good about updating these pretty quickly. And so if you are not able to stay for the entire session, you can come back. Please subscribe to this page, subscribe to our Inside Real Estate page, bookmark this Success Meetups page. I'm going to drop this link right into the chat so that you can have this available in case anybody needs to wants to come and catch the replay later, because we don't email these out to you after the webinar. If you want to catch the replay, you'll need to go into our YouTube channel. Okay. So we've talked about a couple of ways to do your homework and evaluate the market trends in the area. Utilize that for your open house marketing. Don't forget to promote your open house. I mean, there's plenty of ways to do this, and the tools that you use in kvCORE are available. We can probably inject them in any one of these ways to promote your open house. You can put them in a Facebook ad, create that squeeze page or that market report or that single property squeeze page, and then post that link out onto Facebook. Easiest thing to do. Promote it through a property boost. You put it, if you don't have the time, energy, or effort, and you want to promote that open house, you can go into the marketplace and you can use one of our most popular tools, which is Core Property Boost. And what Core Property Boost does is it creates a Facebook ad that will promote new listings, open houses. I think there's various life cycle stages, and it's just as easy as entering the property address. All you have to do is just choose whatever that address is. Let's see if I've got one in here. Let's see if there's one in here. I'm just randomly putting in a number, so we'll just see if there happens to be one here. Maybe not. Well, anyway, you're going to enter the property address or use the MLS ID. And what will happen is once you've chosen that listing, here's one. Here we go. We can promote this one. We can use this, and I believe that the budgets, I mean, it's a really, really affordable budget. And for as little as $35, I think you can promote a 3-day ad. And you can promote the listing, an open house, price reduced, or even sold. So this is pretty cool. And this is what your ad's going to look like when you go to display it. And we will automatically add a hashtag for you. It's going to be property address and then the first 16 characters of the street address, I believe, or the MLS ID number. That's going to be what your hashtag is. And we even have a property boost smart campaign. We even have a smart campaign just for open houses. So when you use that open house app and you're wanting to make sure that you have a follow-up drip campaign going out, well, you don't have to look any farther than the smart campaigns in your marketing section. In the kvCORE library, there's an open house app that's specifically designed to trigger and kickstart once you've set up an open house in the open house app. So if you're not sure if you already have it added to your library, you're just going to navigate over to marketing, into smart campaigns. You're going to click on this middle tab right here to your kvCORE library and search for open house. And when you do that, it's going to pull up the open house campaign, and you're just going to click add to my library. And when you add to your library, it's going to make it available in your My Campaign section. So then you just make sure that you have it turned on. That's it. Once you've got it turned on, then any leads that sign up from your open house app will automatically be added to that follow-up campaign. So, all right, let's see what questions are coming in. See if we've got any questions coming right in here. What would be the difference between clicking on one of the areas we serve to post or generating a market report for that area? Well, one displays as an actual market report, and this is a dynamic link, and it has different information. Like in the market reports, we don't put the most popular or the most expensive. It's just different types of information that's displayed. I suggest, if you haven't already done this, is to go in and create a test report, and that way you can send it to yourself. If you want to add yourself as a test lead, maybe set up a test contacts so that you can send yourself a market report so you can see what that would be. Okay, what other questions have come in? I think that's it so far. All right. So moving right along, what else have we got? So we've got property boost. That's a great way to promote your listings. I mean, if you want to create your own Facebook ad, and put a squeeze page link on it, you can certainly do that. You can set up your own Facebook ad. We have plenty of tutorials in the Success Meetup playlist that'll walk you through how to maximize setting up Facebook ads. Don't forget about those story ads on TikTok and Instagram. Now, because Instagram does not allow you to put links in your posts, like say, for example, Facebook does. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to click through that. This is where being creative and using those text codes might be really helpful, is because you could create something. I don't know if maybe in Photoshop or in Canva, a lot of us use Canva, is to add into your story ad an overlay with your text code, just like I created here on this right here. I created this in Canva. Just create a text overlay with your text code on there. Because again, what you're trying to do is bring people, into your CRM using this digital method. Bring them from the real world into the digital world. Okay, so you could use a story. I actually think this is the size specs that I use for Instagram posts. So I could use this and post this to my Instagram, and it'll have that information right there. The other thing you can do is, with our squeeze pages and landing pages, really you're technically creating a URL link, right? So when you go to create that squeeze page, let me go find one that I've already created. Because by the way, if you're wondering, we actually save your squeeze pages and your landing pages. The squeeze pages, there's a history tab right here. So if I wanted to go back and repost my squeeze page, I don't have to go reinvent the wheel. I can just go into the history and I can go and copy the link and repost it. But remember, when you are creating a squeeze page, and here's one for a single property squeeze page. So when I'm creating these, I'm just creating a URL link, right? I'm creating it so that it's going to point to a page on my website. In this case, it's to this listing, all right? There is nothing that is keeping me from going over to GoDaddy or Bluehost or wherever you purchase a domain name. Buy yourself a cheap domain. Don't spend a lot of money on it. Maybe it's the street address for your listing. Maybe it's Kelly sells houses in Marietta.com, whatever it is, whatever you want to purchase. Don't spend a lot of money on it because you're probably just going to use it for the length of the duration of your listing. And then point that domain to your squeeze page link. Now you actually have a website. You basically just created it to point to this website. You could do that. And then you have a domain name that you could use when you're creating marketing, promoting marketing ads and tools that are going out, because you could put that domain name or text code on your door hangers, on your postcards, on your story ads, in your TikToks. I mean, you could do all of that by using either a domain name or a text code. Another little pro tip, by the way, is that when you create any page on the Google browser, see this little arrow up here at the top? See this little arrow that's kind of pointing to the right? When I click on that, that is actually the sharing tool for the browser. And look what I can do also. I can create a QR code. So now I have a QR code that when somebody scans with their phone or their QR reader on their phone, it's going to scan them over to this page. So I could simply download this, and then I can go add that QR code to my Facebook ad, my story ad, my TikTok, house signs, door hangers, add it to my flyers, my listing presentations. I could add it anywhere. Now, if you have Core Listing Machine, for those of you that have Core Listing Machine, that is one of our bonus products, and your broker has opted into getting Core Listing Machine, is you'll be able to create QR codes as well in your Core Listing Machine. So if you go into marketing and you see Core Listing Machine there, you'll be able to do that from there as well. All right. Don't forget to use the Open House app. And of course, the Open House Smart Campaign is a way to plan and prepare for your open house. One thing about this Open House app that I didn't mention that I also love is the fact that you don't have to have Wi-Fi for it to work. So if you want to set up that Open House app on your iPad or your tablet or your phone, I guess you could do it on your phone as well. You could set it up in advance. Maybe it's, one of the things you do before you walk out the door when you do have Wi-Fi, set it up. And that way you can start it once you get to wherever you're going, wherever your open house is, and you don't need Wi-Fi to be able to add contacts. So people will be able to sign in, and then when you get back to where you have Wi-Fi, it'll sync right into your CRM. So that's kind of cool. I like that about the open house app as well. After an open house, this is just standard open house follow-up. You'll notice there is not one thing in here that requires you to use kvCORE. The reason I put this here is because I want you to remember the fortune is in the follow-up. Anytime you do an open house, the real fortune is going to be in your follow-up. And so one of the many cool things about kvCORE is that we try to take that heavy lifting off of you and automate it wherever we can. So uploading your guest contacts into your CRM, it doesn't have to be a manual process anymore. Okay. Gone are the days where you have to take that information and move it from an open house app or a different open house app that's not kvCORE, or that spreadsheet that you had people sign in on, or even that piece of paper, and manually add them one at a time. I mean, you certainly can. You can always go into kvCORE and you can manually add contacts one at a time, but nobody's got time for that. So you need to ensure that you're using a tool that's going to do as many things and put them on autopilot as possible. So remember what I told you, that the open house app automatically syncs them to your CRM. Sending out that thank you email, guess what? That is also automated. That is as early as, I want to say it's like 7 minutes right after the open. Let's go look and see. Let's go into the marketing section here and let's look into the smart campaigns. Let's look up at that open house smart campaign that I mentioned, because there's some things that are happening as early as just a few minutes after they've signed up on your website. I think it's like 3 hours after they've signed up. There's a message that goes out to them that says, "Hey, thanks for stopping by my open house." Let's go take a look at that. Now, if your messaging that you'd like to create is a little different than the messaging that we have in this campaign, because there's 14 touches that happen. There's text messages, emails, a connect call, and a call reminder to you. You can always come in here and you can clone this campaign and create messaging that sounds maybe more in line with what you want to say. Some people like to go in and change the text messages and the emails. You can do that. Personally, I think this one's pretty good. I like that it's a text message 4 hours after they've signed up on your open house app. And if you want to view it and see what it says, hey, lead first name, because we're using a merge tag to make it look really personalized. And it's going to have your name right here. Hey, so and so, Kelly Bajarski here. It was a pleasure meeting you at the open house. Feel free to text me here anytime I can, anytime if I can help in any way. In the meantime, can I set you up for automated property alerts from our site so you don't miss out on any solid deals? I love the tone of this email because it is providing additional customer service and additional help. And it's also something that you can also automate. Remember that hashtag that I told you about, that magic bullet? Well, guess what? You can use a hashtag to trigger a search alert. Why would you want to do that? Because you want to send out other properties like your listing. Remember, you can only sell that house one time. So it's going to benefit you if you're looking to get new buyer prospect type leads, new buyer leads is to continue to send them properties like your listing. And if you can automate that, why wouldn't you? So if you're using a text code or something with a squeeze page where you're building in that hashtag, take that hashtag and then go and build out in the marketing section a search alert. So you can schedule a search alert right here, marketing search alerts. Now this is kind of cool because when you set up a search alert here, unlike the traditional way that a search alert gets added, where you set it up manually for your contacts or leads, or if it happens because the system has set it up for them after their initial search on your website, that can happen too. This is where you can use the hashtag to create an alert. So if I wanted to use the hashtag maybe 92563, I don't know, fixers, or Main Street. We'll say it's Main Street, like my Main Street listing. 9256 Street 3 Main Street. That's the street address of my listing and the zip code. If I wanted to use this hashtag in a squeeze page that I built, um, or tie it to that open house hashtag that's created, because when they sign up on the open house app, guess what? A hashtag automatically gets added. It's going to be open house and the street address of that open house. Use that as your hashtag. And then go in and set up a hashtag, maybe even draw it on a map. If your listing is, maybe it's right here near Bressy Ranch, I'm going to go as close into where that listing is, and I'm going to send them additional properties. I'm going to draw an area on the map, and I'm going to outline with a polygon search all this neighborhood or this area. Maybe there's an additional area I want to include. You can do two. I'm going to draw an area over here, include this area as well. Okay. And then I'm going to apply the selection. So if there's any listings that come up, it's going to be part of that polygon search. Now, if you want to throw the net a little wider and include listings from maybe your city or county zip code, you could use the location here. If you want to use that latitude and longitude rather than the MLS area, then use that as well. This is kind of like doing a Google Map search based on the county or zip code or city that you add. You can add keywords. Maybe your listing that you're doing this open house for has, maybe it has an amazing waterfront view. Okay, maybe it's on the waterfront. Well, doesn't it make sense to keep sending them waterfront properties? That's one of the things that drew them there, right? So you could add keywords, and based on what your MLS has, you could use the keyword maybe waterfront. Waterfront features, waterfront, yes or no. This is pulling exactly how it's listed in my MLS. So if I go to waterfront features, I'm going to use the drop-down box next to it, and I'm going to see that my MLS offers lake privileges, pond, river access, beachfront, lakefront. These are all different types of waterfront, right? Well, maybe my house, my listing is right there on the beach, and I want to keep sending them beachfront properties. Now I've excluded my areas up here to only include beachfront properties. I can use the general options, beds, baths, price range. I can set up a whole global search right here. I can even choose the frequency, right? Because maybe the market is super hot. Properties are flying off the market, right? You might want to set it up so that they're never missing out on a new listing. So set it up to ASAP. But what if you're doing an open house and it's just for the sellers, potential neighbors in that neighborhood? I've done that before. I've done sneak peek open houses where I've only invited the neighbors. It's not open to the public. I've hand delivered invitations for the closest 100 neighbors that live in that neighborhood. And I set them up on search alerts. Why would they want them? Because neighbors like to be nosy. They like to know when properties are going on the market in their neighborhood. But do they need to get them as they hit the market? Probably not. I don't want to scare them off. I don't want them to unsubscribe. So maybe I'll dial it down and just send it to them maybe once a week, maybe twice a month, or even monthly. Maybe I just send it out. It's part of my nurturing follow-up that I'm sending them. Set it up so they go out twice a month. Now you can set up an email address here to CC somebody. Don't ever put your own email address in here. You really don't need to do this. As a matter of fact, I'm not even really sure why they have this on here on this section, because I can't think of any one use case where I'd want to add an email CC here. This is very similar to when you set it up manually in each individual contact. And I can see the argument for maybe adding a spouse's email, or maybe mom or dad, somebody who's springing for the down payment. Maybe they want to get property alerts too. But this is really for a general search for that you're going to send out to everybody. So I would leave this blank. Now, doesn't it make sense to send them more open house alerts? Maybe. So maybe you want to send them an alert when an open house that matches this criteria pops up. Then they're going to get a separate email with that open house announcement. Okay. So maybe you turn that on. And when you add the alert, what's going to happen is whenever you have, wherever you use that hashtag, that search alert will get added within 48 hours after that hashtag has been added. Okay. So there's some definite ways to kind of minimize your follow-up and maximize your strategy. Send out other properties like your own listing. Even if you have to manually do it, if you want to go manually do, you don't have to set up to a search alert, a hashtag. You can always go into a contact record and you can go in, and this is where the filters really come in handy. You could go into your filters. Maybe it's Monday morning, the Monday after your open house, and you go in and you search in your smart CRM by contact details, and you search for that hashtag open house, whatever, whichever filter or whichever hashtag you used. Okay. And you create a list here of everybody that does not have search alerts set up. You can even go in and set up based on their behavior, has no search alerts, and then just work through that list and manually set them up so that they get search alerts. Because when you set up that filter, it's going to filter out all those uh, contacts with that hashtag that don't have search alerts set up. It'll pull up a list, then you'll go into each contact, and then down along the right-hand side where the activities are, this is where you would go to set up a property alert. Okay. Jennifer, how are we doing? We're covering a lot of ground here today. I want to make sure that this is making sense. And since you're my success buddy today, hopefully you're still there. You still with us, Jennifer? Jennifer might be multitasking. Her phone, she's on mute. All right, so let's see. Oh, there you are. Hey, Jennifer, how are we doing so
Hi. All
far?
right.
Is this,
I'm
that's
doing
okay.
great. I just have a new puppy at home that is making lots of noise, so
Oh, that's okay.
I've
That
muted
happens.
myself a couple of
No,
times.
no, 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 that's all right. So, how is it, are you getting any ideas, any tips, any tricks on how
Oh
to,
yeah, I've got a whole sheet of paper I'm writing on. Yep,
awesome, awesome. Okay,
very
don't forget,
beneficial.
great. You can add, you can grab this replay on our YouTube channel as well.
Yep, I already did that as well.
Awesome. Okay, so just remember that part of your follow-up is just making sure that you have everything set up correctly so the follow-up happens as many times automatically as possible. So the SMART campaign is going to take care of that thank you email. The SMART campaign is going to take care of reminding you to make a phone call. Now, we can't pick up the phone for you. That's about the one thing that we haven't been able to master yet is making those calls for you. But we can set up reminder phone calls. Those are built into the SMART campaign. Reach out and call that person. Send information about future open houses. You can set that up automatically through a search alert to send them open house alerts. Sending out other properties. Anything else? Is there any other ideas, any other things that you would automate if you had an opportunity to do so for your open house? What other things aren't on this list? I'd love to hear from you guys. I'm going to go in and turn on a couple of microphones here. And Alex, you had a question as well. This is open Q&A, so feel free to pop in. If you are in an area with a noisy background, maybe a puppy at home or kids or in an office, or maybe you're in a local coffee shop, you might want to stay on mute, but this is also your Q&A. So I'd like to use the remaining time to answer any questions. So Alex, I'm going to turn to you. You mentioned you're having an issue getting the broker ID for your office set up.
Yes.
Are you are
Hi.
you are you brand new to kvCORE?
We are. So we're actually one of the first offices, I believe, in probably our region, maybe even the first in our state that actually has access to it.
Hmm.
So we got invited roughly a week or so, or a week and a half or so ago. And we're working our way through the launch play checklist and all that.
Oh, okay. So you're going
We
through the
have two
setup
admins
wizard.
working on.
You're
Correct.
go Oh,
And
gotcha.
so
Okay.
right now, and when I'm looking at it at the kind of setup wizard and the launch checklist and everything, it says our MLS approval status is approved. So we are a multi-office brokerage in Arizona. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 office locations total. And they're wanting, it says, so all of our office MLSs are approved for the individualized office, but we're pending approval for the full brokerage. And kvCORE keeps requesting approval and a brokerage ID for an overarching one from our MLS, and that is not a thing for us here in Arizona.
Okay, so do me a favor, and can you direct message me to the host with your name and your email address and your brokerage information, and I will forward this over to our onboarding team. This is an onboarding question, not really a training question, and we do have a separate office hours for them. I am not the technical person that can help you with that.
Perfect.
But yeah, but I can forward it over to our onboarding team. And in the setup wizard, there should be a little blue chat bubble in the lower right corner of your dashboard where you can reach out and ask questions. And
yes,
that,
I was actually using that, and I'm kind of we're stuck in a circle with it. They keep
okay.
he keeps asking me for the office ID. I explain that does not exist,
Right.
and
Okay.
then he
So
says to go look for it, and I keep telling him that it does not exist.
ask him to send you the link for the onboarding office hours. Onboarding office hours, because that is a unique office hour specific for just questions exactly like this, and you'll be able to get on a live session with our implementation team. That should cut right through the red tape.
Thank you very much. Did you still want me to DM you, or do you want me to just
No, go right in. No, yeah, go right in and just ask for the office hours. That's probably going to be your quickest way, and we hold those sessions Monday through Friday.
Awesome, thank you. I have a couple other kind of broader questions that are a little bit more kvCORE specific. Some of them are onboarding ones, but these are ones from us within the brokerage. If you would like me to ask them, otherwise, do you want me to?
If they're training questions, if they're product related, I can certainly try. If not, I can try and route you to the right place.
Yeah, some of them are. Yeah, so like one of them is just, what are the benefits of agents using a vanity URL, and how does it differ from them paying for the domain itself?
Sure. That one I can help you with. Okay, so the question is, I have my own domain name, kellysellsrealestate.com. Maybe I own it. I've owned it for years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to use it for my kvCORE website. Now you can do a couple things. One, you can go into Bluehost, GoDaddy, wherever you purchase that domain name, wherever the registrar is, and you can forward it to your kvCORE account. Now, if you do that and you forward it, number one, do not mask. It's going to ask you, do you want to mask your domain? And you're always going to say no, because if you say yes, it kind of messes up your website. So say no. But if you say yes and you forward it, what's going to happen is when, Kelly Consumer goes to Google or whatever search engine and searches, homes for sale in blah, 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 blah. And if your website, or if they go directly and just type in your website name, either way, maybe they're Googling you and they look it up here. If your website pulls up in the search results, or they go to type it directly in the URL address bar, it will forward to this website. It will not replace kellybajarski.officialiredemoaccount.com. It will not replace it. So it will forward it to here. Okay. If you want to replace it and have it show up for SEO value and for all that stuff, you're going to want to use a vanity domain name. Okay. What forwarding allows you to do, it's free. It doesn't cost anything. And you don't have to replace out your business cards. You don't have to replace any of that stuff out. And you can do that on your own. But if you want it to actually replace what the kvCORE subdomain that's been assigned to you is, then that would be a vanity domain. And to purchase the vanity domain, you would go into the marketplace, and that requires a little bit more heavy lifting and management on our side. So that's why we call it a vanity domain. And I believe it's $11 a month. Could be
It
wrong.
is. Yeah, it's $11 a month. So my next question then, if I purchase a vanity domain through kvCORE and I'm paying for it for $11 a month, you guys then own the domain.
No, I don't believe so. It
So
allows you to use your domain.
Sever, okay, but that's just forwarding then with an extra step.
Not exactly. It's hosted on through our servers.
Yeah. So if I were to sever, then would I be able to take my domain with me?
Yes.
Okay, and it would just disconnect from
Yes.
the website.
Yep, and you can cancel this. It just requires a minimum of a 3-month commitment. Yep.
Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out what the real benefit then would be of having it be a vanity versus just having it forwarded from my regular registrar.
Personally, I would start with forwarding it, and that would work for me. Some people want to actually have it be their website. So.
Oh, got it. Well, and then and you mentioned it prefers not masking. So when you go over to it, it'll revert to the ire.com website.
Yep.
Got it. Which that's fine.
Yep. I got
I would
time
think
for one more question, and then somebody else has their hand up. So,
I can go ahead and let them go. That
oh,
was fine, and I already took up enough of your time.
oh, no. That's what we're here for. Tom, you had your hand in the air.
Yeah, just a quick question. You mentioned about other open houses. Would that be company ones, your own listings, or would it be open houses in a neighborhood that maybe your prospect may be interested in?
When I set up the search alert that is going to send them open house
Well, no.
announcements.
Let me just see.
When I was setting it up in the search alerts, and there was the option to set up open
Yeah,
house
or
The
notifications
list,
I was looking at your
right here.
your list of items.
list
Or
of items, you know, what you can do. Okay, follow up, send info about future open houses.
oh, that would be up to you. In
Yeah.
kvCORE, if you're setting this up and you're setting up a search alert to send out open house alerts, it's pulling in open houses alerts that are added to the MLS. So it's not,
Yeah.
you don't get to choose what that
Yes,
exclusive
yeah.
list is.
Yes.
But if you wanted to, maybe you have, I don't know, maybe your brokerage holds, progressive open houses every Saturday, and you have a whole list, an office list. Maybe it's something really unique or custom. You could always create a custom page on your website. Custom pages are a great way to add additional content. And by the way, SEO value is much higher when you're using custom and unique information on your pages anyway. So I always tell people, if you have something unique that you want to share, create a custom page about it. Okay. The custom pages will show up either as a standalone navigation tab, or it will be in your resources tab under the resources navigation tab. So I actually added a list of after hours upcoming open houses. So if I wanted to take this link, maybe I have a whole list of open houses that are coming up here, and then I've got each one of these is maybe a link over to that listing on my website. You could get as creative as you wanted here, and then you could just share out this page, and all you're doing is having to manage this custom page as open houses are updated.
Interesting.
Yeah, lots of cool things you can do with custom pages. I just like the fact that they're easy. They're easy, and I manage them. It's like having my own social media platform. Anything I post out on Facebook, I always make it a custom page or a blog first, because I want people to come to my website and not stay on Facebook or Instagram, things like that.
Yes. Yes. Great. Okay. Thank you very
Awesome.
much.
You're welcome. Colleen, you had a question. Can you please provide the information, contact information for onboarding? I'm not new to real estate or even EXP, but I'm just getting involved in kvCORE. Colleen, exactly what information are you looking for? Do you have kvCORE?
Yeah, I have, but I have really not used it at all. And and then I met with an agent who signed up under me earlier this week, or actually last week, and she was showing me, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've been missing out. I was just so crazy busy the last 2 years that I didn't have time, but
Right, but it's
obviously
time to
things have
learn a
changed.
little bit more about it. Well,
Yes.
we have all sorts of resources. Do you have access into your kvCORE?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so if you want to learn a little bit more about kvCORE, like the nuts and bolts, here's what I would do. I would suggest taking the Agent Quick Start. The
Yeah,
Agent Quick,
I'm signed up for all of those, but
oh, perfect.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. The second thing is that there's live webinars that go with them. Now, the live webinars are, some of them have links right in the course itself to join, or you can go into the training calendar. So if you've been to this success meetup, you probably have been in this calendar before, because
Yeah,
that's where we have the registrations.
I have several classes for this week. It's like that's all I'm doing this week.
Perfect. Oh, you are definitely on the right track then.
Good.
Awesome.
Okay. I just didn't know if there's something else.
Well, if you're part of EXP, you go to EXP World, because we do exclusive training for EXP and EXP World on Thursdays and Fridays.
Awesome. Okay. Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, guys, I went over a little bit today, but hopefully this was a session worth attending. I always like to ask at the end of my sessions, did you learn something new today? Raise your hand if you learned something new, something that you can use right in your business today. Jennifer did. Awesome. Thank you, Jennifer, for being my success buddy. I really appreciate that. And I see other
Absolutely.
hands going up as well. If you want to catch the replay here, again, don't forget, we will have that posted on our Let me give you the link to this one more time, just in case you need it. It's in the chat. Make sure you just click on it, bookmark it. It's the playlist. Somebody mentioned that it's hard to find the actual ones, but believe it or not, they're in chronological order. So if you have this link, you should see, they should be pretty much in chronological order. That's what this page does. I mean, you can play them, you can shuffle them, but they're all in here. And you can always search. Remember, today's title was the 505 Open House and other tips and tricks. So 505 Brokers Open, whatever you want to call it, please use the tools in kvCORE to make your next open house amazing and capture a ton of leads. I think this is going to be a game changer in this new shifting market. We are going back to some traditional marketing strategies, and open houses are definitely one of them. So thank you so very much for everybody that has joined and participated. What is the name of the one you're going to post on YouTube? Monique, it's this one right here, the 505 Brokers Open. Grab a screenshot if you need to. Awesome. Thanks, Colleen. Glad you were here. Glad you could join us. I'm going to log off. I suggest you do the same. It is time to go sell a house. Have a great day, everybody.